Hello everyone. You may have heard the saying, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. My name is Prasenjit Sarma and I love to travel. I have been leading tours across India, Nepal and Bhutan for almost 10 years now for guests from across the world. So when I started leading tours, I first felt that my guests came to the country to see our forts and palaces, to visit our museums, and to pay their respects in our temples. But what surprised me is that when we were on tour, it is actually the stories that affected them. So when I led tours, I memorized the amount of marble it took to build the Taj Mahal, the names of all the Rajput kings, and the dates of constructions of our temples. But when we sat in front of the Taj Mahal, and when I narrated the love story of Mumtaz Mahal and Shah Jahan, my guests would get emotional. When I talked about the military strategies and tactics that were used by Rana Sangha to get his victories, they would get excited. And when I explained the meaning behind our beliefs and customs, they looked at the Indian culture with a lot of respect. This made me believe that storytelling isn't just an art, it's actually a technology. In fact, it is humanity's oldest technology. Now the question you may ask me is, how is storytelling a technology? Because we think of technology as computers, AI, and robotics. But technology is something that helps humans do more. A fire helps us keep warm, wheel helps us with movement, and stories help us learn, remember, and evolve. A story about a tiger next to the river has saved more lives than any weapon or gun, right? So stories were our first tools, our first network, and our first operating system. You see this across Northeast because we have a very rich tradition of folklore. Children, when they sit beside the fire, are taught about their identity and their community by their elders. The best example to see this is the Morongs of Nagaland. It is in the Morongs that the people are taught about courage, discipline, arts and craft, music, and even warfare. The healers learn about medicines when they walk through the forest with the shamans. Hunters learn about ethics through legends and taboos. Even our harvest songs are basically an oral record of farming, seasons, and daily life. And this is across the world as well. In Africa, we have people who are like living libraries. Across the Pacific, there are people who keep a track of their ancestry and their identity through music and songs. Even our epics, our ancient epics, have taught us values long before schools and colleges existed. Imagine if stories have the power to change nations, what they can do to individuals. Stories, a strong narrative, has led to revolutions, freedom struggles, and changed systems of injustice. They have, in today's day and age, they are leading sectors like cryptocurrency and climate change. But if you talk about from an individual level, psychologists have a term called the internal narrative. It is the story we quietly repeat to ourselves. If you say, I'm not good enough, you stop trying. If you think you're awesome, your mind helps to make it real. So we must choose our story very carefully. And if you think this is just a philosophy, it is actually a science. Studies have shown that a positive storytelling session among sick children in hospitals have actually improved their health by reducing stress hormones and increasing happy hormones. A study of New York Times articles have shown that the articles that evoke high emotion, like anger, fear, and joy, are the ones that go viral. Now you may know about Van Gogh and his paintings. While Van Gogh was alive, his paintings were actually worthless. and he died as a poor man. It is after his death that his letters that he had written to his brother about the stories associated with his paintings were compiled in a book, and this book went viral at that point. And that is why you have the Van Gogh's painting so valuable. In today's market, his entire collection is worth $10 billion. So this is what a story can do, right? Let me tell you a personal story. Varanasi, the city of light, was a destination on most of the trips that I used to lead. One of the activities that we had to do in Varanasi was a boat ride in the Ganges. The night before the boat ride, what I would make my guests do is read a BBC article titled India's Dying Mother. And this article talked about fecal matter, sewage, and high pollution levels in the water of the Ganges. This was their dinner time assignment. The next morning, we would get up, they would sit on the boat and watch the sun coming up. And this is when I narrated a different story. The story of Ma Ganga, the healer, the purifier, and the liberator of souls. As the sun comes up, they would see hundreds of people praying, doing yoga, meditation, and taking a dip in the river. My Western guests who were skeptical about drinking water in their own countries would, after the boat ride, join the locals and take a dip themselves. It is not that the data or science change, it is that the meaning change, right? And meaning actually changes lives, because later on during COVID, one of my guests from Denmark messaged me and said that his entire family got COVID except him. And he thanked and said that Ma Ganga saved him. Now this may not be scientifically true, but this is what he has believed, right? So in the world of data and science, stories create meanings and meaning changes lives. So my invitation to everyone is choose your story carefully, because stories have the power to change your mind and change the world.